How to crochet a loop stitch. The loop stitch is a complex-looking stitch that is actually very easy to learn. If you are familiar with how to single crochet, then you should have no problem learning the loop stitch. Try using the loop stitch the next time you want to add some furry texture to a crocheted item. Part 1, Crocheting the Foundation Chain. Crochet a chain. To get started, you will need to make a chain. Create a slip knot and then slide it onto your hook. Loop the yarn over your hook and then pull through the slip knot. This is your first chain. Chain as many more stitches as you want plus one additional chain for your turning chain. For example, if you just want to practice the loop stitch, then you could chain 10 stitches plus 1 for the turning chain to get a total of 11 stitches. If you are using a crochet pattern, then chain the number of stitches indicated by the pattern. Single crochet to the end of the chain. Your first row will just be a standard single crochet row. Insert your hook into the second chain from the hook and then yarn over and pull through the stitch. Then, yarn over again and pull through both loops on the hook. Repeat this sequence to the end of the row. Chain 1 and turn. When you get to the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. This will serve as your turning chain and provide slack for the next row. Part 2, Working the loop stitch. Insert your hook into the stitch. Working the loop stitch is similar to single crochet, but with some variations. To get started, insert your hook into the second stitch from the hook. Loop the working yarn around your finger. After you insert the hook, take the working yarn and loop it around the index finger that is holding the crocheted piece, not the finger holding the hook. Only loop the yarn around your index finger one time and make sure to keep your finger behind the crocheted piece. Wrap the yarn around your finger so that it is snug but not too tight. Hook the base of the loop in 2 places and pull through. Use the crochet hook to grab the yarn that is extending from the stitch and then grab the other side of the loop at its base. Pull through the stitch slightly, but do not release the loop from your finger. Loop the yarn over the hook and pull through again. With the base of the loop pulled through the stitch, loop the yarn over and then pull this new loop through both of the loops on your hook. This will secure the loop you just made, so you can pull your finger out of the loop now and it will stay put. Repeat to the end of the row. To continue working the loop stitch, keep repeating the stitch sequence to the end of the row. If you are using a pattern, then make sure to follow your pattern's instructions for how many loop stitches to make. Chain 1 and turn. At the end of each row, make sure to chain 1 and turn your work. This will ensure that you have enough slack to continue working this stitch. Part 3, Getting the best results. Maintain even tension on the loops. Maintaining even tension on your working yarn is essential to the consistency of your loops. Otherwise, you may end up with loops of all different sizes. Make sure that you hold the yarn with the same tension for each loop that you make. Wrap the yarn around different items to vary the size of your loops. Using your finger is not the only way to make loops for the loop stitch. You can also use other cylindrical items to create loops depending on how large or small you want them to be. For example, you could use a pen, a marker, or a knitting needle as a loop form. Use the loop stitch to add fur-like texture to items. The most common use of the loop stitch is to make items look like they have fur or hair. Try using the loop stitch to create hair on a crocheted stuffed animal, make a rug look fuzzy, or to give a scarf a furry look.